We are live. Hello, everyone. Your host tonight, Farrel, and I have the lovely Karen here from Canada. Karen, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Very good. You're very perky this early in the morning. I do remember you telling me it was 7 in the morning.
It's 7 a.m. here, yes.
And 11 p.m. here. So we are on completely opposite ends of the world, but we're here and we're pumped. So we'll just wait for a few people. We've got a few viewers coming in. So we've got Crafty I Am. Hello. We'll just give more. Oh, we've got some more viewers coming in. Come in, say hello.
Hello, Crafty Jam. I can't quite read this with my eyes, but
Crafty I Am. Yes. So we've got Tracy. Good afternoon. Kate, hello. Oh, now they're coming in nice. Hello, ladies. Roberta, hello. Cindy, the time change confused me. Oh, trust me, I didn't read my email properly. So I was going on 10 p.m. and then I read and it was 11. So I said to Karen, I'm going to have a lot of caffeine today. So if you see me twitching a little bit, you know, I'm a little bit over the caffeine.
I see Nicole's here from Ninny's Napkins. That's how I got into this, because Stamperia had reached out to Ninny's Napkins and said, you know, do you have anybody that would like to do a live? So I have her to
hello. So we've got Laurie. We've got Julie. Good afternoon. So good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening.
I'm recognizing some names here from people from my YouTube channel and my viewers and stuff. So thank you so much, guys, for your support.
Yeah, so we've got Kath. Hi, Kath. Annette. So I'll just quickly go through, say hello. Hi, Rachel. They're all coming in. Hello, Danka.
Good morning, everybody.
We've got, Marianne. I can't believe you're still up. 2 a.m. That's dedication. Dedication. We've got Carla. Hello. We've got Marta from Spain. Oh, they're all coming in. It's lovely. Christina, hello. Okay, so Karen, what are you going to be creating today?
Today we're going to do a Christmas themed home decor project, kind of functional art. We are going to create with this collage frame.
Ooh.
And it can have multiple uses. It can be just a home decor holiday themed one, or a menu board, or a Christmas activity board.
Oh, that sounds exciting.
So I'm going to kind of do dual purpose. I like using our mixed media art journaling techniques to make functional art, so it can look beautiful and at the same time have serve a function.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
The practical
side. What collection are you using today?
I'm going to be using the Patchwork Christmas Patchwork scrapbooking books, and again, all the products that I have that I'm using that I got from Ninny's Napkins. She provided them to me. So thank you, Nicole. And I know she just got a whole shipment of Stamperia stuff in there. So if we could post Nicole's ninnysnapkins.com.
Well, is it Nicole? Is that her name? Nicole. Okay. So Nicole, if you just want to pop in the comments, the link to your store, that would be great, because then everyone who's watching can pop on. If she's got a website, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It's online. So Nicole, if you can pop that in, that would be fantastic. And okay, so did you want?
So I'll be using the 12 by 12. Scrapbook, which has now been all cut up, because I don't think people need to watch me cut. As well, I'll be using the clear stamps from the Patchwork Christmas as well.
Oh, I love that stamp. I love
Teaching
it.
that one.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Make-A-Wish, which is, I think that was previous. There was another collection and they've kind of revamped it and added to it. As well, I'm going to be using Clocks and Borders.
Oh, so Vagabond, yes, excellent.
One of those stamps, as well as some of my DIY stamps and stencils along the way.
I'm really excited to see. Are you using the cogs from that stamp set?
No, I'm using the.
I mean, I could just wait and see you do it, but I'm not a very patient person.
I'm using Wherever It Is. Oh yeah, the one with the lines. I found this is one of my favorites. I'm often looking for smaller scale stamps, and this one just gives some really interesting details into backgrounds and stuff. So
I can't wait to see what you do with it.
So yeah, I'm excited to get going. And like I said, I've taken apart this scrapbook, and they have so many focal images. Now my collage frame has 8 pieces or 8 frames to it. So the scrapbook collection is perfect because it had so many images. And when I was kind of having ideas, I had ordered from Nicole the 8x8 and the 6x6 because I wasn't sure of the scale. So you can make it fit, but I really, I love these images. So the 12x12, so they're going to fill up most of the frames.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Okay, so what we'll do then is I will take you out so that you can flip your screen. And when you're ready, just give me the thumbs up under your screen so then I can bring you back in.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, now bear with me because I've got to remember how to do this. So, no, wrong one. Oh, my goodness. Okay, yes, we're good. Okay, so let's go through some more comments. So we've got a few people here, which is really, really nice to see. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Now, save the date for the 10th of December. We have something very special happening with the Stamperia family. I can't tell you any more, but you're going to love it. So save the 10th of December. Also, remember to share the live, like the live, so that you are in the chance to win a pizza box. Now, I think I've lost Karen. That's okay. I'm sure she will come back. I hope she will come back. Let's go through. Oh, Elda, hello, darling. Elda's she's back doing classes, so make sure you jump on her Facebook to check them out. Wish I lived closer, but being on the other side of the world, it's a little hard to come. But if I was there, I would be there at your classes. Sylvia, hello. Yes, it is a very beautiful collection. The patch, I've actually got it sitting on my desk. Oh, okay. Because I have some projects in the mix. Now let me just, we've got, I think Karen's accidentally gone out of the live, which is okay. Bear with me. Oh, she's coming back. Okay, I'll just wait for her to come back. Yes, it is, Anna. It's a very beautiful collection, very cute. So many different things you can do with it, which is really, really good. And it's an easy collection to use. I'm not much of a Christmas person, but I love Christmas, but I don't tend to create a lot of Christmassy things. But when I saw this collection, I think you can do a lot with it. Rachel, I agree. There's so many things you can do. Okay, let's. Okay,
There we go.
there we go.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Now, I don't want to stress you out a little bit, but you are upside down. Is there any way that you can just turn your phone around?
Okay, I'm going
without touching anything.
I don't know.
Yes, that's the perfect way up. We've just
but it's going to interfere with my tripod. I'm going to.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, and I did test this out.
That's fine. It's only like the corner. And when I put you in full screen, so I'm going to move you over. So when I put you into full screen,
oh, sorry. And I did do many trials.
That's okay. We can still see what you're doing.
There we go. I'm filming on my phone, so the phone will die.
What, your phone's going to die?
No. It's plugged in, but technical difficulties.
It's all good. Okay. Did you want to get started?
I'm wondering if I can move my board a little bit over to. I don't know.
It's fine.
I hate that the tripod or the stand is showing, but I don't know. It's just a limitation of suggestions. Or should we just continue?
I think we should just continue. It's fine.
Okay. Let's continue. I'm much better at the art than I am at the technology. The technology is always the glitch, the fly in the my ointment anyways here. So we're using 12 graphic pages, and the hard part using these is committing to cutting them up. Because they're so beautiful in of themselves, but you can take the plunge and jump in. And I need to admit, this is my very first scrapbook collection that I own. I typically don't use it, so this was a bit of a challenge to try to use it and maximize it. So I spent time fussy cutting everything and getting all the elements out, and now I can make it my own and do that. So I have all of the elements cut out. As you can see, there's tons and tons and tons of focal points. And for those of us like me that can't draw or struggle with drawing in our art, this is like a godsend to get so many focal images. So very quickly, and I did most of this off screen ahead of time, I edged them I use black archival, although right now I'm thinking I should have used a brown. So I just used the blending foam here and just
so we've
got rid of that white edge, so we don't see it once the elements. So just this kind of preserves that vintage look.
I do love that, Angel.
So we have all the elements that I'm going to be using for for this collage frame. So those I'm just going to set aside, because right now we are going to create the background for these images. Now, when you're flipping through the collection, the artist has done it for you. They've dictated and given you a wonderful color scheme. So, you know, for those of us that are new, it's ideal, because just look at what they have and you use it to make your color selections and even your image selections and your patterns and stuff. So I just went through my paints and picked up colors that were being used in the patchwork collection. So we've got, you know, a red, Naples yellow, yellow oxide, a turquoise, bright aqua, Russian blue, and aquamarine blue. And those, you know, when you flip through, you pretty much see everywhere. Now you can also look at what backgrounds the artists that created have given you, and go with that when you're deciding, okay, what color background do I need or want to have? What's going to look best for this? And so when I flipped through, there was a yellow background, and I made some prototypes because I wasn't sure. There's red, there's teal, there's more of a neutral, and the yellow. And then I took the images that had cut out and just placed them on the paper, and then just one works best. And I really liked, automatically I eliminated the red. And the neutral was just too neutral for me. I liked the teal, and I liked the gold, the Naples yellow background between there. But in the end, I decided I'm going to go with yellow background. So that's going to be the base color in the background we're going to create. And as mixed media art journalists, we love making backgrounds. So for me, I need a background given to me. I need time to play. So
Karen, can you hear me?
This is mixed media paper. And these are 9 by 12. And I've given it a coat of gesso because I like how the paints blend once there's gesso on the page. So I'm going to use a highly technical art supply, my makeup sponge, my dollar store makeup sponge. And I'm going to start with Naples yellow and gesso. And I'm going to add a little of red to it because there's lots of red in my focal images. And I just want a little bit of that color to show in the background, because you want the background to read well with your focal images. I'm just going to get this on, and it's going to look a bit like a hot mess. And that's okay, because this, even though as you're putting on paint and you're getting the different tones, it's just going to add interest to your background. Just want a little bit of that red just peeking through. And of course, the yellow and the Naples, the yellow and the red are making kind of an orange, which again is a color that is in some of those focal images. So as I'm doing a background, I might keep pulling this on and saying, is it doing what I want it to do? And then I can adjust. If you're doing this on raw paper, you're going to get, it's going to soak into the paper and it won't be as easy um, to blend. So that's why I gesso. I always laugh on Facebook, people asking, is it necessary to use gesso? And, you know, you have those people that absolutely, you gotta have it. And there's the others that, you know, no, you don't. Oop, that's a little too bright, but don't worry, because I can come in and mute it out and blend. If you're not getting a color that you like, I say, I got too much of that on my page. So I'm going to do 2 pages because that is going to give me the 8 4x6 backgrounds that I need to fit into my collage.
So Karen, is the sponge dry or wet?
This shot with
Karen.
Okay, you're breaking up. I didn't quite make that up, Carol.
Okay, so yeah, because you're very glitchy at the moment. So
the sponge is dry.
Okay.
The sponge is dry.
Excellent.
Completely dry when I start. Sometimes you can add a little bit of moisture, but I find that more times than not, I just go with dry. Mm-hmm. So we have one of them done. So we're going to basically duplicate that as much as possible, knowing full well that it will not always work out that way. You're going to have variation. Now, this is just the first layer. It can look messy. We're going to add some stamping and I have a couple homemade type stencils here that I'm going to be using as well.
I always say that
layers and building interest.
Yes. So with mixed media, I find that when you first start, like that first layer or even the first 2 to 3 layers, sometimes it looks like your cat's vomited on it. But you got to keep building those layers, and the end result is usually amazing. But it's layer on top of layer on top of layer on top of layer.
The live stream seems to be interrupted. In my feed, I'm getting a lot of feedback.
Yes. So I said that before.
It's very broken.
Yes, and so is yours. So I think it's the actual, because you're glitchy and then we're losing you, then you're coming back. So I think it's the connection.
Okay.
Because we were good when we were
in Victoria, BC. I see somebody asked about where I am. The west coast of Canada. We moved here about 5 years ago when I retired from teaching. And now I teach on YouTube. I always laugh. People comment, it's like you're a teacher. And I said, well, you know, you can take the teacher out of the classroom, but oops, well, that was way too much. So now that we have the base color on both of our pages, Karen, it's probably my connection. I was afraid of that. I don't. There's not.
Okay, so it's when you moved your camera.
Collage. Some of the pictures are going. And some are going portrait. So because I'm going to be stamping script and words on here, I'm going to pay attention to that. So one of them, when I do stamping, I'm going to do in landscape form, and one of them I'm going to do in portrait so that I don't end up with some of the stamps upside down. So one of the essentials in art journaling and mixed media is a good script stamp. So
I love a good script stamp.
Archival ink and just do some background script stamping here and there, going off the page. So that one, this is the landscape, and now I'm going to do the portrait one. It's not the end of the world if your script is upside down, but I struggle with trying to be perfect sometimes. And so now I'm going to add the words that come with the patchwork. Clear stamps, the Merry Bright Happy Christmas, and those to that. Go over top of the script or other stamping that you have there. That just adds to the layered look.
Okay, so you're using the, just so I'll show everyone which, yes, it is that one. No, this way. So WTK158, that's the stamp set that Karen's using. It's
so here I'm using the sentiment stamp part of this in the background. Like, don't think that just because it's a sentiment, you can only have to use a sentiment. Okay, so we did Mary. I'm putting this first in the black as one of the first layers because it will get pushed down by whatever I put on the top.
Cindy, so you've asked the whole day on the 10th of December. Yes, it will. Everything's going to be coming to you soon. So I can't say any more. All I can say is you need to keep that day free because I don't want to get in trouble for giving you too much, but you don't want to miss it. So 10th of December, save the date, set your alarm, set your reminder, make sure you're there. Sorry, Karen. Karen, can you hear me? Karen. I don't. Can you hear me?
That is all with the landscape one and the portrait one. To add color, the colors, and we're going to do some stamping in the background with these colors. So I'm going to use some. This is I'm going to show this because I understand my voice is all crackly. It's still at this end. And I want to add some very fine stenciling, or stamping. And I was looking through to find those perfect stamps because I don't want it to be large scale. I want it to really be in the background and let those focal images really shine. I don't want it to compete So I'm just taking the makeup, I'm just going to rub it onto my stamps. Put some of the stamping on there. This gives a very fine of paint on there, which is just perfect. I'm just going to hold that up. We're getting a shadow here. It's just very, very fine. And I don't want, like I said, I don't want it in forward. I just want a little bit of that teal that you see all the local images, just so it reads. We've got the little bits on the houses, and it's just, it's there. Now, when you've used acrylic paint on your stamps, you need to make sure that you clean them. So I often spray it with a mixture of Murphy's oils and household dishwashing liquid, and I scrub it with a stencil brush to get the acrylic paint out, because I don't want to wreck my stamps. As much as they are dedicated for mixed media and art journaling, for this I don't make cards.
That's a really good point, because I like to use paint to stamp with, but you've got to make sure.
No.
Can you hear me? Because I don't think you can.
There's no cord in here other than my charging cords.
I don't think. I know I look
fear
worried.
that it might be the connection. The connection where we live is terribly, terribly bad. So now we have these, there's 3 sizes of stars in this collection. And I'm going to use, there's a medium star, and I'm going to do some stamping with the aqua. And I'm just using kind of stamp pad. There's ink, or there's the acrylic paint on here. And we're switching back and forth between our 2 pages. So that's all the bright aqua that we're going to do. Now we are going to add some of the red. Now the red is really powerful, and there's lots of it in the focal images. So I don't want to put a whole lot of it. So I'm going to use very expensive DIY tool. This is drywall tape, and it's kind of that mesh looking. To put some sponge, get very, very little, and I'm patting off a lot of it because I don't want it wet at all, because I want this to be very, very fine. Just a shadow of the red. I want this to be in the background, but if you put it straight on, I find that the red just takes over. So you can see how that is. So that's a beautiful red one. Oh, hard orange. That makes the paint go through, and we're going to end up with maybe too much. Like there. So we did get too much on there. So what I'm just going to do is just come in and push that back a little bit with some white gesso and the Naples yellow, and we will not be any of the wiser that we made that mistake. There really is nothing that you can do that you can't do with a coat.
Karen?
And in all likelihood, the focal images are going to cover up some of this, or strategically, I can make them cover it up. And now I want to do with the small star. And I choose small star because the red is so powerful. I don't want a lot of it, but I do want some. So if you, I know some people here, they're very familiar with my YouTube channel. I recognize the names. I can't hear Farrel at all.
Okay. I'm going to send you a message on here. See if this will fix it.
Yes, that's the problem with me crafting. I get in the zone. That's why I like doing voiceovers on my YouTube channel, because I'll start just talking through, and then I just stop talking in the mid creation process.
I think that happens to the best of us. We start chatting and then we just get into the zone, and then we forget that we haven't said anything for an hour.
I can hear Farrel now, but I can't.
Yes,
can you log out and
you
log
can.
back in? Okay.
Did you just want to try for me, because I've been talking, but you haven't been
So
replying back
leave,
to.
and I will log back. Yeah.
Okay. Let me. Okay. Sorry, everyone. We will try and get it fixed. But like Karen said, when you get in the zone, you don't look at. I know when I create, I don't look at anything but what I'm doing. So, fingers crossed we can get that connection figured out. But like I was saying before, with your if you're stamping using acrylic paint, make sure you clean your stamps as soon as you can. I like to spray with water first, then baby wipe if I'm not near a sink. If I'm near a sink, I take it straight to the sink and I just use a sponge, like a dishcloth, and I clean it. So yes, that was that tip. And then we talked about the layers, and hope everyone's having a great Saturday. And yes, so let me know who's creating today. I was actually telling Karen that today we had 35-degree heat, and yet I see in Canada they've got snow. So I wish it was snowing here. So yeah, put in the comments what's going on here. Oh, thanks, Sylvia. I know these things happen. We'll get it sorted. I think she is back. I'm working in my... Okay. Karen, can you hear me?
I'm trying to flip the...
Would it be easier if you just turned your phone upside down? Yeah. We'll just... Yep. Can you hear me?
I can see you.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
There we go. The sound is still what it is. But
okay.
The picture is better. We're moving.
Yep. It's okay.
We got progress.
All right. Don't touch a thing. Leave the camera.
Okay, so now we are going to use the large star, and I have some white paint. And we're going to put that on. And I've lost you completely.
Me? I'm still here. And
okay,
we can hear
I think
you.
my feed has gone off. So I can't see you, and I can.
Oh, okay. Okay. So we'll get this sorted. Be patient, everyone. -7. Holy moly, that is cold, Selena. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I won't tell you what I was doing today, which would involve swimming in a pool. That is very cold. -10 in Sweden. Holy moly. Oh, I'm so jealous. I want snow. Cleaning my mess before I create. Okay, you're lucky you didn't see what my desk was like before the live started, because that was yeah, it was pretty bad. I had finished a project, but because it was so hot, I just walked out of my studio and left all my crap everywhere. So I had to clean it so I could put my laptop on my desk. It's colder than cold and awfully dark and wet. Oh. Okay, so I'm just, bear with me. I'm just going to text Karen, and let's see if we can try and get her back here. Oh, Sarah, hello. Mwah. Love your new collection, by the way, and love what you're doing with it. Again, see that you're teaching around the place. If I lived closer, I'd be there too. But no, I'm stuck here in Australia on the other side of the world. Oh, show us your new... Oh, okay. Just while we're waiting for Karen. So I think it was 2 days ago. Now, my lighting's not the best, but this is the frame that I did for Endonis's design team. So I've done it's 18 inches, I think, and it sits quite high, but okay. Actually, hang on. I think add to stream. Okay, Karen, can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, do not touch a thing. Okay. Leave the camera.
I am sitting down.
Oh, yay. Okay. So as long as you can hear me, because I was hoping you didn't think I was ignoring you, because I was trying to talk, but you couldn't hear me.
No.
Okay. Continue.
Okay, so we are adding white stars to our background.
And that's with the acrylic paint still?
It's all acrylic paint. I really like stamping with acrylic paint. It just gives that little extra texture to the project. And I find I get it, well, you can use any color that you have acrylic paint. So I love that. You're not limited by ink. And it just, what works. So either I'll put it on with a makeup sponge like I'm doing here, or if it's a bigger stamp, I use my gel plate.
Okay. I don't think I've ever used my gel plate for stamping.
It becomes like this giant stamp pad, or brayer it on if it's a big, like the mixed media stamp that I used earlier. That works really well, and you get just the right amount of paint on it, so then it doesn't glob on as much.
Yep.
So now that the white is on there, I want to bring out that yellow, and I'm going to use yellow oxide. It's just a tone darker than the Naples yellow. Hopefully you can see we're almost done our background. I apologize, everybody, for all the technical difficulties. I know that
it's okay. We were talking about snow, and a lot of people want to swap with me because it was so hot, and I was.
No, this summer when we had, plus 42, I do not envy people and the heat. I like it around 20, and
I love the cold. And when it's hot, and you probably don't really want to hear this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. I sweat where women should not sweat. Like, there is nothing worse than sweating in places and you just can't seem to get cool. Whereas in winter, you got your layers, you've got your heater, your Ugg boots, your tracky pants, you've got blankets, hot water bottle. Like, you can get warm. But in summer, give me the snow any day. Having said that, though, because it doesn't snow here, that's why I want it to snow. I'm sure if I lived somewhere where it was snowy, I wish I was back here where it doesn't snow.
So I'm going to add some of the aquamarine blue, this very vibrant blue that's on the angel and many of the focal images. So I just, I kind of held up the images to my paint. So it doesn't matter what paint you're using. You can use, just match it as closely as you can. And then when all else fails, maybe mix paints sometimes.
To make your own colors.
So yeah, I wanted to use Prussian blue, which if anybody knows me, that's one of my favorite blues. And if you don't have a small stamp, you can just use a stencil with circles, a good basic. You can just use a hole punch and punch cardboard. You can make your own.
Oh, good tip.
And again, the blue is pretty powerful, but when I put that blue on, now it reads with what's going on there. Now the patterns that are here, I also took from the images, from the focal images. There's checks, there's circles on here. So I'm stealing some of the patterns from the original artist. I'm taking the lead so that everything reads together.
Yep.
So when you're selecting stencils, it's, while they're all going to add interest, sometimes you want to, go with what's there and build on, use the artist's skill and use it as a jump start to your creative process. And then you put your own mark on it.
Now, Karen, you're using a different sponge for different colors, yeah?
Yes.
Yep.
I have a whole collection of these makeup sponge. I throw them into my Murphy's oil soap and I reuse them. I broke out brand new ones for the occasion, but
hey, what do you soak them in?
It's called Murphy's oil soap, and I put, technical term, a couple glugs of that, a couple squirts of dishwashing liquid, and then I fill my spray bottle with water.
Okay. I've never heard of that stuff before.
So if you know, and this never happens to any of us, forget to wash a brush or anything. If you soak it in more concentrated Murphy's oil soap, it will get out.
Wow. Okay. I wonder if we've got that here.
I know you can get it on Amazon. I've seen it on many sites.
Oh, that's like
any
favorite place.
Store. It's used to wash wood floors.
Oh, so the hardware store should sell it.
Hardware stores, any of the big box stores.
Okay, I'm writing that down. I've got my pen.
I spray my surface with it, and it just lifts up the acrylic paint. It makes cleanup, just a breeze. Like I'll just spray it like that, and it just comes off.
Okay.
Without much effort. It's also great for spraying on stencils and letting them come off.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good tip.
I want to spend my time creating, not cleaning. Although I do think that I spend about a third of it creating, a third of it organizing my craft room, and a third of it cleaning my craft room.
Actually, so I said to my husband yesterday, I don't know how many times. So for you, those of you that don't know, my husband built my studio. So it's outside and it's a big shed, but we've done it up inside. And I have I've moved things around probably 3 times, and we only did it recently so that I had a permanent setup for lives. But I'm finding that I'm too cramped here. So I said to him, I think we need to redo the shed. And the look he gave me, it was like half eye roll, half, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, well, it's not working. So I think maybe after the 10th time we've moved things around, I think it'll work then.
I know every time you move it, you kind of think, oh, why didn't I do that sooner?
And the amount of times I go, I've got to clean my shed today. And I come in and I start, but then I go, oh, I don't remember seeing that. So the frame that I did recently, the other day for Andonis's design team, I've had that in my stash for a good 12 months and didn't even know I had it until I was cleaning my studio.
So it just shows a homemade stencil that I made just with multi-size circles. And I'm using the yellow oxide. And then I'm going to come in and layer white on top of that. And that's going to knock back some of these circles. And I like stenciling with white on top because it just kind of gives that frosty look and it knocks everything back. So, I mean, a lot of the stamping that we did in the initial layers is further back. So we're getting, physical layering, and texture, or not physical, virtual.
Yeah.
What's the word? I'm lost for words.
I find that the white tends to tone it down a little too.
Yeah, exactly. So we're coming up too much. I need some white. And you can use white acrylic paint. Often I have the gesso right out. The white acrylic paint will be more opaque. So you get better coverage. So if you want more coverage, go with the white acrylic. If you just want that frosty look on top, you can get by with white gesso. And again, it depends on your brand of gesso. They're not all the same, so I just use an art store economy brand gesso. It's nothing too spectacular, too fancy.
Nothing fancy, but it does the job.
It does the job, and then I can save my crafting dollars for, the art supplies that, make me happy, like the stamps and stencils and scrapbook collections.
Or Murphy's oil.
Yes. So this one's finished.
Looks
we
really,
have all
really
these
good.
layers. And now that, I admit I've done prototypes. I did examples of this. I tend to over prepare because that's the way I roll and stuff. So I have done, some examples of this. And actually, I'm not going to cut this one up. This one's going to take time to dry. So we're going to use some that are already dry. Just like those cooking shows where, you know, everything's magically
Here's
done.
what I prepared earlier.
Because, you know, we all know I don't want to bother turning on a heat tool as much as possible here because that's just an added noise. And we've had enough technical difficulties without.
But we got through it.
We did. Thank you, Farrel. Yes. See, the worst happened and I survived, right?
Yeah, had me worried for a little bit, I'm not going to lie. But we got there in the end, and everyone is loving your background.
So yeah, so these backgrounds are going to end up going into my stash, the ones that I created today with you guys, but I will find and I will use it. And there will be more videos on my YouTube channel where I'm using other pieces from this collection because I have lots of them and I absolutely love it. So I will turn this into some cards and other things. So nothing goes to waste.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do, or what I would do on here, we also need to splatter. Sorry, we you know, we're not done till
I love splattering.
Till we splatter. And I have this cobalt teal metallic paint that matches the teal in here and has some shimmer. So, I mean, who's not going to love that?
Karen, can I ask, for people who want to follow you on YouTube, do they just search in your name?
They can search in my name, Karen Burchill, or Creative Katie, Kady.
Okay. So if everyone got that, I just thought since you've got a YouTube channel and people want to follow. Oh, thank you, Nicole. I'll pop that up.
Did Nicole put it up?
She sure did. Thank you.
Oh, there, I kind of managed to get it there too. So now that I'm a little calmer. So I'm taking just the regular acrylic paint and I'm adding water to it to thin it so I can splatter. Metallic paint always seems to take a little bit more mixing to get it to that stage for some reason. I think it's just the additives that, you know, make it wonderful. And splattering is a great way to get that small scale addition. And I'm not sure how I splatter, but I've got it on the floor. I have it on the walls. I have it on the blinds. You know, and it's not like I don't understand.
Do you know, I will go pick up my kids from school, and because normally I'll come in the shed, I do my work, and I don't leave until I have to pick them up from school. And half of the time I've got gesso, like I've got splatters on my face. I had gesso on my boobs, didn't even know. And the teacher, she knew me towards the end of the year, and she said, "So I take it you've been working today?" I was like, "Yeah, how'd you know?" It's because I wear gesso. That's my war paint when I go to pick the kids up from school.
And then I'm going to splatter with gold as well. And since I use my gold splatter a lot, I have it pre-mixed. Because I'm you know, addicted to splatters and shimmer, so. Now, the problem with splattering is you've got to really give it time to dry or you're going to smear it. Mm-hmm. And because there could be a lot of paint, depending on the size of your splatter, this is where I would be bringing out the heat tool or, you know, I'd leave the studio or whatever. So, which is why to get to the next step, I have it pre-done and we'll just pretend that I did all those things. So there is the completed backgrounds.
Gorgeous.
For the focal image. And stuff. And right now, as I put this over here, I noticed I'm just going to talk about my YouTube channel here in a minute. I use the rice paper from the Patchwork Christmas. This is the rice paper, and I made a Christmas memory book. This is the one, the teal one is the one that I did in the video, but I also made a yellow one. So
gorgeous.
There's lots of components to these collections, and I love that because no matter what you want to do with it, you can do that. So, and that video is on my YouTube channel if you haven't seen it.
Okay, so everyone needs to get onto Karen's YouTube channel.
Clean up a little bit here and get ready for the next part. So I'm hoping that now there's a lag in my feed. So I'm hoping I'm pulling out the camera. Can you see the entire collage frame?
Karen, you're game to touch it. But yes, we can see it.
Oh, I touched it. Sorry.
I was like, no, don't touch it. But no, yes, we can see it.
Okay. So I am going to, these have been cut. They're 4x6. They fit exactly into the frames. And you can get the different collage frames. Some will have 4, some will have 12. You can get them with different multiples depending on the size that you have. So I'm just we're going to work on the composition. Which of the elements are going to go where? And you'll notice I have the days of the week here put in. If I'm using this as a menu board or an activity board, that's something that I want to have. And so there we have it. So now I have my focal images. Now here's another trick. I play with the composition, and when I have something I think I like, I often take pictures of it. And then I can go back and say, do I really like it? Because sometimes when you're looking at the picture, it's a little bit further, it's distance. So I'm just going to take some of these images. We've got the poinsettia. And I'm going to play with them.
I love how the black frame just makes the background colors pop.
It just all works together.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Like just adding that frame just really just adds to it. It's just beautiful.
Okay, so then you're playing with, and then you have different elements. There's a page with sentiments that you can add. Mm-hmm. Now we're working on a fairly small size. It's 4x6, and the focal images take up a lot of the space. So there's not much of the background, but if I don't like something in the background, I can put a focal image on top of it.
Yep.
I can,
everyone is saying that it's amazing, lovely. They love what you've done. Oh, I love the baubles.
Those baubles on the page, I loved both sides of that page. I couldn't cut. I was like, I can't cut this. I want this one and this one.
It's just beautiful.
And so once I have what I think I like, I'll grab my phone and take picture of it. And then when you are redoing it, you can just look at your picture, especially when there's lots of elements, and you can remember, because you know, sometimes you forget or you think, oh, that was better.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty happy with this setup. And like you said, I like the black in there.
Just makes it pop, just the colors. So it just brings everything together. And I think because you inked around the edges with black as well, wasn't it? Your cutouts.
I did. I put the black on there, and then the days of the week will be black. Although I'm going to put them on tissue paper because I don't want that white on there.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, we're going to start gluing this down now. So I'm just going to take these like this, but I have a backup. I have the picture in case, you know, things go south.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get rid of the frame. And now we are going to glue this down. And I'm just going to use some fluid matte medium to glue the element down. And I know I'm going to cut off some of it, so we'll deal with that. Each one is going to be treated a little bit differently. Some will be on the full side. And I'm putting a coat of this underneath and on top. Now, because I said this was my first scrapbook collection ever that I've used, I wasn't sure if gel medium would be necessary because the paper, it's wonderful quality paper, but I wasn't sure if it was going to adhere with just the fluid matte medium. But I tried it with the fluid matte medium and it worked very, very well. So I'm just going to set that aside. Now I'm giving it a good coat on top because I want to turn it into kind of a non-porous surface because I'm going to add some colors, make these colors pop in the finishing stages. And that's just going to make it work easier later down the road for myself.
Yeah.
Although I did attempt just to see, getting to know the scrapbook paper, I was quite successful at shading just on the raw scrapbook paper. The quality of the paper and the finish of it allowed me to do that without it bleeding or doing any of that. So that was interesting to me. I'm not sure where this one is, so I'm checking my picture.
Lucky you took a photo.
I can't, you know, I did many times did I try and do different compositions over time. Again, in my, you know, overachiever. Is that the right side of the brain that processes it? You know, my creative side of the brain and my logical side often can fight.
So which side's our creative side?
I'm not sure.
Because I tried it.
The left? I used to know this. That was. But.
If anyone knows, can you put it in the comments? Because I like to use that as my scapegoat because I must use the creative side more than the smart side. So I'd be interested to know, is it the left or the right? I'm going to say it's the right is the creative. I don't know. But if anyone knows, pop it in the comments. Everyone's loving what you're doing, Karen. Just so that you know.
Thank you. I have the comments here, and I just like I said, I'm in the zone, so that's I'm not ignoring people. I'm trying to.
I know it is hard, and I said when we lost you for a little bit, I did explain that it is hard when you're creating and you get in the zone. You don't tend to look up. So when you're looking at comments and creating, sometimes that doesn't happen.
Oops.
Oh, okay. So the right side of the brain is the creative side. So I was right. So I must have used my left side to know that it's the right side. Oh, Nicole, she's got Google says creativity is not just a right brain process. Your right brain is virtual to creativity, but so is the left. Oh, so we are very smart because we're using both sides of our brains.
Now, what I also did here, did write the days of the week on the back of these. So for future, when I get to the next stage, I will be able to know which one's going where or where I intended it to go. So if you are doing, trying to do the same thing, making a menu board, that will be a helpful tip, because when you turn the frame upside down, you're again working in reverse and it gets a little confusing.
I love that Christmas tree too. I don't have.
Then I have one of the stars that I cut out from one of the papers. There's so many little elements, like there's enough big ones to do this plus more. And then there's all these little elements that I have cut. I also, here's all the little bits that were left over. This is the scraps.
Oh my gosh.
And I've kept all of that because, as we know, we can use it. So here I've, just put it down, and it's going to add some texture and some pattern to another iCAD or ATC or art journal page. So nothing is being wasted at all.
True crafter. Right there. Don't throw anything out. You can always use something for something.
Of course, that kind of leads to problems down the road when you have, you need a bigger and bigger room.
So then you just get your husband to build you a big 8x7 shed that still hasn't got enough room in there for me.
That's already been discussed. We kind of think this isn't our forever home. When I retired, we moved to the island 5 years ago, and he's still working. And the plan is that this is not necessarily our forever home, but the next home has to have a bigger studio.
Yes, we so before this house, because we moved back to WA, but when we were in New South Wales, we built a house, and there was only 3 of us at the time, and everyone kept saying, "Why did you build such a big house?" And I said, "Because it's got to suit my needs." So I had potentially 2 craft rooms in this house. So then when we moved here, we couldn't find a house like that. So I said to my husband, "There's room out the back to build a shed." Hint, hint. And I got it. We need the space.
Yeah, and you need everything out. Because at any given time I'm using everything. Mixed media. They're not kidding. That's why I love it, because there are no rules. And
so we've got crafters never throw anything away. It's never hoarding. No, it's not. We're collectors. We're not hoarders. There's a difference. Just so that you know.
No, because it all has a purpose. Okay, so we're on the last one.
The cats. They're the cutest. I love the cats.
The cats, yes. I am a cat lover.
Me too.
So
I actually
these
think
guys.
Most crafters are cat lovers. I think it's a prerequisite.
So Saturday is Catterday here.
Oh, yeah, I love the cats. Okay, so Nicole's just said her paint freezes. Does your paint freeze as well? Is it that cold that your paint freezes?
No. Although when we had our plus 43 here, I some of the paint didn't like it. They didn't like the heat.
Well, actually, funny you should mention that, because when I was in here creating for a future Stamperia project, I opened, because it was so hot, I opened the top of my paint and it actually spat at me and just kept oozing because of the pressure in there, and it was so hot in here.
So I use that as excuse to go buy new paint.
It's a good idea. Maybe that's what I should do.
I'm going to add this teal star to my little angel wing. Okay. Now, I'm going to set these aside to dry a little bit. And we are going to move to, I want to put the days of the week on here, but I don't want that white. I think the white is just too stark on the page. I don't like the look of it. So what I've done is I've printed that off onto tissue paper.
Okay, so did you just use a regular printer to do that?
I use dollar store tissue paper.
Yeah.
And I'll just walk you guys through this step. So I played with the fonts and, figured out 2 possible ones. And I printed off the sample, tested the size, which is what I've done here. Because I didn't want it too much here. Again, I want the focal image to be the focal image, but I do want the days of the week on there. So when I am using this as a menu planner or activity planner, we kind of know what day of the week it is. So you want whatever you're going to take to print onto tissue paper to be in the middle. Don't go too far to the edge. That's just causes trouble down the road. Then you take tissue paper, and this is just dollar store tissue paper. Now there's a shiny side and a more matte side. So you want the matte side up.
Yep.
And you're just going to cut this to size where you have, so you know how big it's going to be. So you can see the script through here. Now, some people I've watched and they iron it. I don't. I'm too lazy, or I did try it once and I didn't make any difference. So So I just pull it out. You don't want the tissue paper to go too close to the edge. And then you are going to use just clear tape and tape this down.
Okay. So you're just taping the corners, or do you try and tape
a lot more than the corners?
Okay.
Because you're going to feed this through your printer. And so you have to decide if you're willing to jam, because it occasionally does. So, I'm okay with it. My printer is dedicated, as my stamps are, to my mixed media. So I'm okay with that. And it works rather well, and I'm taping on the sides and I'm pushing it as flat as possible.
Yeah.
Now, typically, like here, I have 2 different fonts on here. Normally, I would have it printed twice, the same thing, because if it wrinkles, you have some parts that's unusable and you're going to have to go through the process again.
Yeah.
So it's just somewhat easier to build that in and do it once and hope. Also, when you're gluing it down, sometimes the sentiments, it rips the tissue paper when you're gluing it down because it becomes fragile.
Yeah.
So it's not a smooth process, but you want to take time doing this part. And then you feed it through your printer, however your printer works. Some people have to put it this side, the tissue paper up like mine when I put it in the tray. Some have it the opposite. So people's printers work differently. So I'm just I'll put this in the tray and hit print, and it comes out on there. So what we're going to do, and I did make 2 copies because I know, so here's the second copy.
Yep.
Just in case we run into difficulties, because, you know, that's going to happen.
Can never be too prepared. I like it.
Well, it happens to me enough times that I'm sitting there and I'm printing off for one word or something else. So, but it's a great way of putting sentiments on when I do canvases and different things, and you want the background to show through, or you don't want the focal image. You don't want that white. And for me, a lot of my art journaling pages, they all have sentiments. They all have, you know, that's a big part of my art journaling and mixed media, incorporating the words.
Yep. I think it's really cool that you printed on tissue paper.
So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to bring up my picture. And we're going to glue so I know which days of the week. Oh, Thursday. There we go. Now the tissue paper goes primarily translucent, which means you're going to see the background. Now, if your background was darker, sometimes you do see a little bit of the tissue paper. It doesn't go completely translucent. But we have a light background, so I'm thinking that it's going to work. Now, I've kept the paper on here. That makes it easier to cut.
Yep. Good
You've
tip.
got some stability. Otherwise, the tissue paper is very, very flimsy.
Just a quick question. Are you using a laser printer or an inkjet?
Oh, good question. It is a laser printer, so this is not going to smear.
I don't have a laser printer. Oh, I might see if my mum's got one.
You can also get them, you know, you can get them at Box or at the Home Depot, not the Home Depot, office supply stores, but I don't know if they put tissue paper through. So I'm just, now the secret to getting it to go as translucent as possible is using fluid matte medium, because I don't want the shimmer on here, and using lots. And again, once you're putting on the top, remember it's going to be fragile. So you want to be careful. And I'm just going to cut off the excess here. And you can see.
Beautiful.
That it's there, and you see the background coming through. It's like magic. So here's where, you know, having the day of the week on the back, so I can just look at this and easily do it. And since it did go very translucent, I don't have to worry about cutting it so close to it. If your background's darker, you might want to cut more of the excess tissue off.
Nicole's just said to spray, if you have an inkjet like myself, that you can spray hairspray or use a spray fixative.
I don't know how that would work with the tissue paper, though.
We'll give it a crack.
You have to try that out. I know that works with regular paper if you were just putting sentiments on. So there's Thursday and Friday. This one doesn't have, this is the cover one. Yell at me, Farrel, if I'm out of camera, if I'm not.
No, you're perfect.
This isn't quite dry yet, so.
If you want to use your heat gun, go for it.
I will when I get this all done.
Yeah, because I can mute you if it's too loud.
It's a necessary evil. When we had last week, when we got torrential rains and there was flooding in BC and different things. The power went out for 10 hours. So even when it was light,
Oh
it was
my
like, I still
gosh.
can't create because I can't use my heat tool.
Oh, isn't it funny how when you can't use it, that's when you notice how much you do rely on having a heat
Now,
tool.
of course, I could have created, but we're just so used to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm looking at my picture and I'm seeing, now I have here, this is a good example. There's the Mary stamp here in black, and I don't want that to show through the tissue paper. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white gesso and knock it back so it's a little bit faded, maybe a little bit of the Naples yellow, just so I don't have the black competing with the black. And I'm just going to let that one dry a little bit more before I do it, because so if you don't like something, like even if there was something coming out of the cat's head that didn't look particularly good, you can always knock it back or get rid of it.
I say that with mixed media all the time. When in doubt, cover it with gesso. Whether it's black or white, you can always fix it. Black gesso and white gesso are your best friends.
Yeah.
When it comes to mixed media.
You can always get rid of things.
Well, I can't count how many times. I think some of my projects may have 6 layers on it because I'll start off and I hate it. So on goes the gesso, start again. And I just keep going until I'm happy. And I think there'd be at least 7 layers on some of my projects.
Some of my best pages are pages that I absolutely didn't like. And then you just like, okay, well, I got nothing to lose now.
Yes,
you're totally free then because you don't have anything to lose.
Yes. It's when you overthink it.
Yeah.
When I find that's with me. When I overthink it, I struggle rather than just letting it flow. But yes, you're right. When you get to that point and you're like, you know what have I got to lose? It tends to be probably the best projects that you create.
For most of my videos, I do voiceovers and stuff, and it's a good thing because literally when I'm in the midst of videoing and creating, it's like sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, okay, Karen, just do it. It's okay. Like, I'm giving myself a lecture. So.
See, that's in my videos, I don't do voiceover. It's just music, and then I do, because I fast forward as well. Otherwise, you'd be there for 8 hours. And I just do the subtitles, because if you could hear what was coming out of my mouth most of the time when I'm creating and it's not going the way I want to go, it's not pretty.
Yeah, I know. I tell some of my viewers that, it's edited. It's, it's not a straight line for us either. Sometimes it's going south and we know it's going south.
Yeah, I've had some tough days recording, I can tell you that much.
Okay. We have Father Christmas. I love this one. And I know there's a rice paper with Father Christmas on it. I think he's on my wish list.
I was just thinking, I can't decide. I love the baubles, I love the cats, and I love the Christmas tree, and I love the houses.
And with this project, you don't have to decide.
I know. It's so cool.
So we're just... So I'm in the process of getting a different laptop. My laptop is showing signs of wear. It's breaking apart. The lid part is separating. There's a screw that's broken away. So I'm in the process of having all new technology, which is terrifying. And in the process of that, because my video editor that I've used for years is no longer available, I had to learn new video editing.
Okay, so I recently got a new computer because my husband was sick of me complaining because it would take hours for me to edit and upload onto YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So an early birthday present. He bought me a laptop, which was great. And then my 17-year-old son goes, Mum, I got the best editing program for you. I was like, oh, I don't know. Just put on the old one. I'm happy with that. He put on this one. It took me a month and I still couldn't use it. And I just said to him, can you delete it and just put my old one back on?
Okay. Last one. And this should be Wednesday. Oh, we're in luck. They all worked out. Now, the nice part with this frame, for the Christmas season, I can plop these in, but I can do a different theme for different times of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm anxious to go through some now scrapbook pads because they're such a great resource, and go through those and see if I can find one that I can have at different times of the year. So you can use the same frame and have different art on your wall. It's a little finicky to cut tissue paper.
I think you're doing very well. It looks straight from here.
Well, I don't attempt to put anything straight because then you can't fail, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's what I learned, teaching, that when doing bulletin boards and this stuff, if you don't attempt to make it straight, no one can tell you it's not. And I do that in my art journal too. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to do this kind of wonky because. Okay. So I think actually probably can do the next step without drawing. So we have all our elements. And now we're doing the finishing part. And often I want to sometimes make the colors, especially if I've used rice paper or napkins. The colors sometimes get muted when you glue them down. But these, the benefit of using the scrapbook page, the colors are true to themselves because they're not translucent. But I am going to add a little bit of color to it and do a little bit of shading. And I don't know how we are for time. I don't have no knowledge. Oh my gosh.
You just keep going.
And stuff. I can kind of skip some steps and come back to it, but
no,
so
you just keep going.
My Inktense blocks, which are permanent. I have this bugaboo about using stuff that's permanent because I don't like when it reactivates and destroys anything. So I have my swatched colors. I could use acrylic paint and water it down. It's just, this was a little bit easier to do. And I've done some of them, like the cats I've already gone on the raw paper, and I've just given it a wash of the Inktense block color, just to make that focal image stand out a little bit more. Because I want that focal image to be up front. So I'm just matching the colors as close as possible and then going over. So here I'm just adding to the blue and just deepening the color. And wherever there's solids, I'm not going to get rid of some of the lovely patchwork patterning because that's so integral to why I love this set, right? But I'm just adding that little bit of color. So if I'm doing blue, I'm going to do all the blues. And it's just a wash of color. It's ever so subtle, but
Sylvia's just said that they would make awesome Christmas card collection.
Yes.
So what you've done there, perfect Christmas cards.
Absolutely. With this size, I hemmed and hawed about making Christmas cards, but I thought, I'm going to do something different, something that maybe people haven't seen. But definitely, these could be just ATCs, Christmas cards, You know, you're not limited just because I'm doing this particular application.
Oh,
Doesn't mean that you can't do the same thing and do it on a different.
Yes. No, on an ATC would be awesome. I'm going to steal that idea. Thanks for that.
And then with the different scrapbook collections, the 6x6, the scale might be more perfect for a card, and you can mix and match with them. So
I've actually got the 6x6 here, and it's so like it's tiny, but they would be perfect for ATCs or cards because
exactly. Or if you want bigger, like here, I had to put 3 baubles together to give the same weight of some of these elements. So I've mixed and matched the tags. So you can just add to it. The only thing is you have to fussy cut those little things, which I don't like fussy cutting. So
I hear you there. I don't like fussy cutting either, but just to show everyone. Evil.
But these are like, so yeah, these will be Christmas cards. So now I'm just going and doing the red on the various ones. And because the art on here is very watercolory, you don't have to be so perfect. We don't have, you know. I think the more we give up our perfectionism, the better we are.
I agree. It looks amazing. And I love how you've just made the colors pop.
Yeah, just that little bit, because I do want, I want this to be the star of this page. And sometimes, because the background is fairly busy, there's a lot going on there. I just felt it was a little necessary to bump it up just a smidge. Yeah. And I use the Inktense, like the Inktense is ink, not watercolor. So it's permanent when it dries.
I just love how you're only highlighting though. You're not covering the whole image of the collection. You're just highlighting certain areas to make them pop. I just think it's beautiful.
And when you're doing anything that's vintage, like this collection, or that's watercolory, it's very forgiving. We don't have to, this is where I usually tell myself if I'm a little nervous about trying, is just do it. Just do it. Yep. It'll work out, because it always does. Or you make it work out. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got. Now I want to do some of the green, and then I think we can move to the shading part, which is also going to make it pop a little bit more. So green, green, green. Oops. And even if you can add a color, you can change the colors if that's something you want to do when you're doing this step. You're taking what other artists have done and just making it your own in some regards. And because we have that coat of matte medium on here, if you don't like it right off the bat, you can just lift it because it's non-porous. It's not soaking into the paper.
Okay, so you could use, because that was going to be my next question. So can you use a baby wipe to take color off before it dries?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Or even just, if you tap it with your finger, you get, it just lifts it up, right?
Yep.
If you don't like it, you've guessed on the color and you don't like it, or it goes somewhere where you don't want it. And that's why you just give it a coat I find it works well enough just with the fluid matte medium, but you can do a coat of white or clear gesso, which will do, you know, the same. Okay. And you can see this went fairly quickly. I was afraid that this was going to take a lot of time, but it really didn't. Now I want to add some gold in. So I'm using the same gold that I had that I mixed for my splattering, because it's watered down, and I might water it down even a little bit more. And I'm just going to add just a little bit of gold on each one, whether if it's yellow or just a detail. Just to add that shimmer. I might be off screen here, sorry. Now the gold is typically very translucent, transparent. But it's still giving that shimmer.
And what's Christmas without a bit of shimmer?
That's right. Now this set, like I in my house, I've got these vintage colors is Christmas with teal, which is my, you know, regular decor. So that's why I picked this one, because I knew it was something that, you know, I will be able to use year after year after year. Matches my personal. Now this is going to be behind glass. So some of the shimmer won't necessarily show, but on an art journal page or a card, I would do more gold, because it's definitely going to show a lot more. But definitely want the stars to be gold.
Yes.
Okay. Just adding. And since nobody is going to compare this to the original, they're just going to see this as this is what it should be. Whatever you end up creating is what it should be. Yeah, taking time to do the color swatches, Sandy, really pays off, because you can refer to it so often to match those colors. I don't know when I hold it up if you can even get that.
You can see that the shimmer.
No, okay. But I know it's there.
Yeah.
Now, I probably will be taking this out. I'm going to splatter with gold on top of that to put gold all over. I'm not going to do that now because it's just going to take too much time to dry. And we are going to hit this with a bit of a heat tool.
Oh, your heat tool's quiet. I don't know what you're worried about.
It's more the time, you know. I taught art journaling to some students of mine, and this one boy, he says literally, we're watching paint dry. He was just like, like so disappointed. Okay, now we are going to do a little bit of shading. So if you are someone who's watched my channel, you have seen me doing this numerous times. I used to, years ago, 20, 30 years ago, I used to do folk art painting on wood. And it was a technique that I used for shading on there that I learned was easily transferable to doing here. And while I'm not going to instruct that here, I do have a video that does show how to do that.
Okay.
It's called Floating Acrylic, and I'm using brown, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shading on all of these, just to make it stand out from the background. And often I go on the paper and then I go beside on the outside. That gives some shadow. And I'll compare, oops, got a little too much paint on there. It takes a little bit of practice to get this technique down, but once you do, because it's permanent, unlike the Stabilo All pencil or many of the things that charcoal pencils for shading, then so you can see how, or hopefully, you can see the shading on this one and no shading on this one, and how this one just looks like it's coming out from the background.
Yes.
A little bit more. Hopefully we can see that.
I can see it, so I'm sure everyone else can.
I find a lot of times people ask questions, on my Facebook group or on YouTube, about, it's missing something. And usually it's these things. It's the finishing, what we do in the finishing stages that really gives it that little extra something. For me, this is my Zen time. I could do this for hours. I won't today, but I find this part very relaxing.
See, I normally just ink around the edges. Very rarely have I kind of added shading, but I think after watching you do it, I think I might give it a go.
Give it a try. Like I said, I find it adds enough that it's worthwhile. And like I said, I go on the paper part and then I go beside it as well.
Yeah.
Most times I do black, but I'm really liking the brown here.
Well, the brown kind of ties in with, because it's kind of it's a vintage kind of patchwork. So the brown really kind of sets those vintage colors off, I think.
So you can see here where I'm adding the shading to the original, it's just made this dress pop. And it comes down to personal preference if you like this look or you like it the way it was, right?
Oh, my favorite, the cats.
And even with this, sometimes I just do a little bit here and there. I don't even do all of it. So I'm loving how this is turning out.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It just makes, the shading seems to make it look like it belongs more on the page as opposed to something that's glued onto the page.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you were, doing this, it doesn't all have to be done in one sitting. Absolutely. You can do it over several days, right?
So is there a particular tip to doing the shading? So do you stick to one side, so when the light comes in one side, you kind of do the opposite side for your shading, or
Yes, there is, but I don't necessarily know what that is.
Okay.
I kind of follow more intuitively when I do it.
I love your honesty. Here I was thinking you were the queen of shading.
No,
okay.
A lot of it, I've never formally taken any art classes.
Yeah.
I kind of learn by doing, and if it works, I do it again. If it doesn't, I don't.
No, that's great.
So
really,
but when I did, color theory and all those things, when I started re-examining some of my art, and I thought, okay, why do I like this? Inevitably, it's because it follows the composition rules. It follows the color theory.
Yeah.
So they're good rules to have, but
So no, the only reason why I asked was because I don't know. I think the rule, I don't know it, but I think it's, you kind of picture the light coming in from one end, so you do the shade on the opposite. But just watching you, which is quite therapeutic, by the way, just watching you shading, it's kind of making, I was looking at my paintbrushes and my paint then, and I was like, oh, I wonder if she'll know if I just start creating. But it's almost 1 a.m. here, so I can't promise it'll be anything good. But it's like you're highlighting certain, so you used the inks to highlight certain colors, but now you're using the brown to highlight certain areas. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do run the risk, like with the black, it tends to get it super dark sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't always come in. Sometimes I'll come in with white or white gesso and add just a little bit of highlights. Okay. Usually that only goes in a few spots, but even that I don't do a lot of.
Yeah.
And in my videos, it's something like, oh, I'm just following intuitively. I really don't know what I'm doing here, so I can't even tell you.
But it works in the end, so why ruin a good thing?
And if I don't know it, then, and that can be successful, then so can you. So
you had me fooled. I honestly thought you knew.
I know, we watch these videos and we think that everybody's got the keeper of the knowledge, and
Oh, that was funny.
And if you only have time to do one part of the highlighting, I would do the outside. It seems to make it meld with the page better, what I'm noticing here, as I'm thinking about it. I always think at this stage, I'm using the least amount of paint, and it takes the longest amount of time.
Yeah.
Backgrounds are quick and easy, right?
Oh, I love doing backgrounds. I think the composition and then the finishing, that's what takes the longest.
Yeah, it does. And it's the most, tedious,
Mm-hmm. But the end result's always good, so it's worth it.
Absolutely. A bad day in the studio is still a better day than doing housework.
Absolutely.
So there, we have these ones that are done, and then we have, can we tell the difference? I can.
Yeah, I can.
It's just more vintage. I think it
just ties everything together.
Yeah.
So it's a whole.
Now you can do the shading. You can use a Stabilo All pencil here. They do come in brown. You can use, you know, black charcoal. But I would say 8 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, this is the way I tend to do it. I haven't looked up at the screen. I'm in my zone here.
I think everyone's in the zone. You've got me in a trance just watching you shade.
So yeah, you do need, like, you can do it with a flat brush, but I prefer the angle brush.
Mm-hmm.
And you can, I mean, you can use floating, there's actual special floating mediums that you can use that help this process. I prefer not using them, but and again, because it has that matte medium on it, if you make a complete mistake here, you can go back and get rid of it. We are down to 2 here, and then we can assemble.
And it is just a brown acrylic paint that you're using,
yeah,
isn't it?
This is a raw umber.
Yep, okay.
Sometimes I'll use, if you don't have raw umber, you know, if you're using burnt umber, which is lighter, you can mix a little bit of black in it and make your own. It's kind of what the combo would give you.
And you just, is it watered down before you apply it?
What
your
you
paintbrush
do,
is wet.
I'll just give a quick thing, but the tip of the angle brush, you put a little bit of dab of paint on there, minute. And then on this side, you dip water. And then on the glass mat or palette paper, you go back and forth, and it gets into the brush so that when you put it down and you're putting pressure, it just kind of gives that little bit.
Oh, wow.
It's like darkest next to where the tip is and lighter afterwards. And it's a matter of the right amount of water, the right amount of paint, and then pressure when you apply it. But yeah, on the YouTube channel with the video there, I kind of give people a homework assignment to practice it. Ever the teacher.
Yes. Well, I'm sitting here and like I said, I'm looking at my paintbrushes, and I've got an art journal under my crap somewhere. It's here somewhere.
Now, if I was doing an art journal page or this was a card, I would also shade around or edge the border in the same way.
Yep.
But because that's not going to show in the way the frame fit, this is going into my project, I don't need to do that here. But often I would just, and that's a good place to start when you do the technique. If you go along the edge like this, it's very forgiving, and you can get a handle of how to work the technique. And when you start, I would have a baby wipe in hand so that you can, wipe it off if it doesn't work. This would not work though if you are using any color medium that is non-permanent, so watercolor, because you're adding water to it, it will distort things a little bit. So this works best when everything down here is permanent, like using acrylic paint, which probably 90% of the time that's what I do. And this is the last one. Is anybody still in the house?
Yes, we still have people on. We've got, they're talking about it's a Stabilo pencil. Stabilo pencil. I've got one. It's a black pencil that you can smudge.
Right.
Stabilo, that's it. It's a Stabilo pencil.
And I've used that too. It comes in brown as well, or navy. It comes in different colors.
Yeah, I think I've only got the black one. But I was just checking out my angled brushes because I've got two. So one's a smaller one. But I think I need to get that Murphy's oil to clean it. Because it's...
Yeah, this is the only brush that I actually will spend more money on because you need a higher quality.
Yeah, I think it's okay.
It probably is because,
it's just feeling a little hard at the...
Oh, that makes me feel good because I've had several go that way.
Yeah, but I don't remember using anything that should make it go hard. So I'm a little confused as to what I've done to my paintbrushes. And they're good one. Well, so that's the Stamperia. Let me just so I've got two. Okay, which way am I going? So they've got KR34S. Let me see if I can. Which way am I going? That's the small one, number 8, and the other one's a number 12. Don't mind the paint on it. There's your angle brush, and that's the other one. But I've done, I think I'm going to have to clean them.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Nicole has the Stamperia angle brushes.
I really, really do. I love them, but I've never shaded with them. They're just a little bit hard. So
well, I'm glad I could show you something new.
Yeah, I know. I'm really keen. So once the kids go back to school on Monday, I think I might actually do some ACT cards, like doing similar to what you've done, using the little 6x6 paper pad.
Okay, so we are done. This part, they're a little damp, so I'm going to give it a little shot of heat, just because I do not want it to stick to the glass.
Oh.
But yes, you could take these and put them onto a card base with the navy blue or the red, and they would definitely work as cards, except for the days of the week.
So what number brush do you use, Karen, when you do your shading? Is there a number on there? What number brush do you use when you do your shading?
Anything from 1/2 to 3/4 inch.
Thank you.
It's actually easier with the larger one, not the smaller.
Okay.
I originally learned using like a 1-inch flat brush. So.
Okay. So then is that, hang on, where am I? Is that too big? I don't know if you can see on your screen.
I'll turn off the heat tool.
Oh, sorry. No, keep going.
Yeah, it's at least 1/2 inch with the angle brush. I think the other thing that people often, when they start and they haven't done the shading and, it's going to bring it all together. It's going to make it all work. You got to believe that the additional steps are going to make it. And every page goes through that terribly ugly stage. So I am going to put these aside and grab my frame.
Right, so I'll put you in big screen.
And I'm going to open it up, open all of them up. They have little clips here. And this, like in Canada, you can just pick these up rather inexpensively. Walmart. They're readily available and in lots of places. So now I'm just going to put them in. There's a like MDF backing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just putting that in the frame. Aha, it worked. So now I'm going, and this is where if you mark the top with the days of the week, if you're doing a menu board, you know which is right side up.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't end up doing it and then having to redo it. Not that I know that by any other reason other than I obviously did that. I've made menu boards just with my gel prints and colors that go with my decor. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where are you? There you are. Nope, that's Monday. What did I do? Oh, no, Monday goes here. I'm right.
I'm glad you know what you're doing.
At least I'm not wrong. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Nope, Wednesday's over here. Thursday. Friday. Saturday. Oops. Saturday. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So there we have the finished menu board. So as it is, all you need to do is you just take just a dry erase marker. If it was a menu board, you can, put whatever you're going to have on top.
Wow.
Or you can write it, in an open space, so it's not covering up the thing. Now, what I've also done here, and that just, you can grab that off. I've taken some of the stamps and I made up, because I want to use this as a Christmas activity, 12 days of Christmas kind of thing, as well as a menu board. So I typed up a bunch of Christmas time activities, printed them off, and then I've used some of the stamps again from the collection, from those clear stamps to go. And what I'll do is I'll just use some, I could use tape or sticky tack, and I would just put that on there. And then we can reveal what activity we're going to do. So if you
that's really cool.
Buy a hot chocolate for a stranger, create a Christmas scavenger hunt. So then it would get flipped over the week. So everybody in the family can pick one or, have fun with it.
That's really, really cool. What a great project.
Or leave off the days of the week and it just becomes a home decor item for Christmas. It would be, so it has multiple purposes and stuff. So
very, very cool. I just think it's beautiful. And so does everyone else.
Oh, thank you. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. And, it's been fun doing this.
Well, did you want
the technology?
Once we got there, but we got there. That's the main thing. We got there in the end. Did you want to try and move your camera so it's front facing? Just so we can see your face. I can
do that. Actually, we'll just hold it. I'm done with the...
We got there and your project is amazing and everyone is saying so. So everyone, don't forget to share. We did get there in the end, but everyone's saying that they love it. It's beautiful, very creative, really nice, fantastic. So you got a lot of beautiful comments, and just watching you create, like, it all come together was really inspiring. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Farrel, for putting up, and it was nice meeting you because I've seen your videos and stuff. So it's like, oh my God, I get to.
Oh, stop it. No, it's been really, really nice. I'm just glad that you wanted to spend like 2 hours with me. It's nice.
Absolutely.
And you shared techniques that, like, I'm inspired. Like I said, I think I'm going to do some ATCs on Monday once the kids go to school. I've got my little book here. I've got my paintbrushes here ready.
You're good to go.
Yeah. Got my stamps, my paper pad, all because you created what you did. So thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you, everybody, for sticking with me and on all the nice comments.
No, it's all great. So on that note, thank you again, Karen. I really appreciate it. Thanks to everyone for being here this morning, this afternoon, and tonight, wherever you are in the world. I always get confused because it's nighttime for me. So thank you. And Stamperia will be back on Monday. Don't forget to keep the 10th of December free. More info will be coming soon. So thank you, everyone. Thanks again, Karen. And good day, good night, good afternoon to everyone. So
bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.